guys, and welcome back to my channel. Let's see if we get the lighting right today. I put a light like right here on the side of me and it looks good now, so we'll see what happens when I put it on YouTube. So anyways, I was gonna start this video out like completely differently than I'm actually gonna start it out now today. And that's because I actually got a message from a friend who is also a witch, and she had watched my spiritual awakening journey and had some questions. And then I forget when I'm making the video that if you're not going through a spiritual awakening, or if you're not sure what it's about, that you might misunderstand or not understand, it's going to be hard to understand what I'm saying, generally speaking, if you have not been through a spiritual awakening, or if you haven't done any research on what a spiritual awakening is. So in my first video, and it's actually something I wanted to talk to you about, talk further about today, so it's actually perfect. So in my first video, I spoke about how the first time I got into my spiritual journey, it was about 10 years ago. So this is what I mean by that. So when I first started getting into spirituality, reading books on spirituality, Eckhart Tolle, Law of Attraction, manifestation, things like that, it was about 10 years ago. So I guess I don't want to say I was on a spiritual awakening journey. I was more on a spiritual journey that started about 10 years ago. So I got on the spiritual journey to have the end result of a spiritual awakening. So hopefully that makes more sense to you guys. So the difference between then and now is at that point in my life, I wasn't experiencing the things with the awakening that I was now. So to reflect back to the first video, don't get me wrong, things were happening and things were definitely changing, but not to the level that they are right now. So when I first went on my journey, I was taking different types of classes. We were doing like Tibetan circles, any of those positivity classes, circle classes where we were doing aura readings and different stuff like that to try to keep myself in the mix, constantly reading books, going to the bookstore. I watched positive affirmation videos every morning, lots of Law of Attraction videos. This is when The Secret first came out, which I'm sure you guys remember when The Secret came out. It was huge. So I guess that's what I want to say. When The Secret came out and all those books, that's when I threw myself into the spiritual journey, hoping for a spiritual awakening. And what I said in my last video is I just don't think that it was my time to experience the things that I'm experiencing now. I've grown so much in my life in the past 10 years. I mean, I don't even look at myself as the same person. Even since I started this new journey in October, I am not the same person that I was a few months ago. It's crazy, yes, but it's 100% true. So I guess what I'm trying to say is to better clarify myself to you guys so you understand what I'm saying, is that the first time I went on a journey, I was trying to become a spiritually awakened, okay? And I had signs and there were lots of different things that were working for me and with me when I was on it, but not to the level. Like, I didn't really feel like, is this an awakening? Is this what happens when you awaken? I was getting some synchronicity in my life and I was getting some small things. But the more I look at it and the more I look back at that part of my life is when I know there's no way I was ready to take the spiritual journey that I'm on now then. Because I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't mentally ready for it. I don't think even my mental maturity could have dealt with what you have to deal with. So we talked about that a little bit in my last video, just basically the beginning of my spiritual awakening, which now I've been on, we're going on 4 months that I've been on the spiritual awakening journey. So another thing that I want to explain to you guys is this. So this is so interesting because the last video that I made, I watched, there's a lady, her name is Christina Lopes, okay? Her name is Christina Lopes on YouTube. She talks all about spiritual awakening. Once again, the reason why I want to make these videos with the time frame, like in the moment, in the now, is because I think there's a difference if you're watching someone that has gone through a spiritual awakening journey, but it's been a while, it's been years. So now they're backtracking and they're telling you what it was like when they were on your journey, which is good too. I wanted to do a video series with someone who is actually in the journey right now. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's just so much more helpful. Like someone could contact me and be like, has this happened to you? Or do you hear this? Or things like that. So I mean, I wish there was someone that I could have asked when this first started, because it was confusing. And if there's nobody else, I'm the only one. No one else is going on this spiritual journey with me. I don't have girlfriends. nothing like that, that are in this journey with me. So I'm basically going it on my own. So I read books and I go on YouTube and whatever information that I can get. I mean, I pretty much know how this thing works now, and I am on my journey pretty solidly. But there are things that constantly happen that you question yourself, like, is this part of my spiritual awakening? Like, is this going on? So in my last video, I had said that I came off and went back on. Now, in the meanwhile, through the research and the videos that I watch on spiritual awakening and things like that, throughout my own journey, this lady that I just told you, Christina, had another video popped up on my YouTube, and I started watching it, and it was called, it's about pretty much like the dark side of spirituality, the downside, because there is a downside to spirituality, believe it or not. Yeah, there is. So, I wouldn't say it's a downside. I don't know what to call it. It's a down. Okay, maybe it's a downside. So, in her video, she discusses some of her clients that have been on spiritual journeys, okay? Now, a lot of people, when they think about spirit, if you do know anything about it, you'll think that a spiritual journey happens when chaos just like breaks out in your life, okay? Now, it does happen a lot. That's how a lot of spiritual journeys begin. Like, that's how mine began. It was like my fight career, my knee, my dad, so many things. Like I told you in the last video, was one thing after another. I was like, can I get a break? I had a mental breakdown. So now what I'm wondering is, she said that some of her clients, they go through that for years and they're still in their spiritual awakening journey. So these years that have been in between, like me, when I say I'm like on and off the journey, like all of a sudden I'll pick up another book and be like, okay, I'm going to try this again, you know? And maybe I never came off the journey. Maybe I've been stuck in this dark night for many years. So I'm not totally sure, because the way she explains is that some of her clients had to go through pure hell, like, you know, the loss of somebody, breaking up with your husband or your life partner, losing your job, losing your house, huge life things like that are usually what spark spiritual awakenings in a lot of people. And for me, I feel like when I went on my journey, I was looking to be spiritually awakened. So I'm not sure if I did that and if I was being answered, like, okay, you want to be on this spiritual journey, then right to work. And then all this stuff was like, bam, 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 bam. And I was like, okay, no, I'm not ready for this. But she also says once the journey starts, you can't stop it. So now I'm really questioning whether or not that I have been on the spiritual awakening journey for 10 years. And those few years in between where I was just like shut off from watching videos or going to classes or reading books, they were my down points. So again, I call it the dark night. That's what they call it in spirituality. A lot of people call it the dark night. The dark side of spirituality, your darker self. There's different names for it, but the one that I've seen the most has been the dark night. So now I'm really curious if I have been. So to answer the girl's question, my friend there that was curious about me starting and restarting and that whole thing, I can't really tell you for certain, because who really knows what the answer is, right? Like, because every single person's different, and every single person's spiritual journey is going to be completely different. So hopefully through my videos and me going through it on a daily basis, I'm going to try to do these like every 2 weeks updates for you guys. So some videos might be shorter than others, and so on and so on. So let me give you guys a little taste of what my journey has been since the last time that I talked to you guys. So it's been amazing. Honestly, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I feel like a whole new person, like a totally different person. There are things I don't even do as much anymore. I find myself barely on IG, not really caring about things like that anymore. I already didn't care like about IG as much as I used to, like years and years ago. But even more so, like I barely spent any time on that. My time lately is spelt. My time lately is spent being creative. Like creative in like so many different ways too. I'm a writer, and I've had writer's block for the longest time, and now I find myself writing constantly. I'm journaling. I write articles now. I'm constantly writing them for this witch page that I'm on, which I love doing it because you're learning about your own craft at the same time. And I'm also doing my writing, which is opening me up. So now when I pick up a pen and a book to start writing, the words are just going. They're flowing again like I used to. I feel like this spiritual, not feel like, it's the truth. The spiritual journey has completely released my writer's block. And it's like amazing for me because I've literally been a writer since the first grade. And then to just do something and do it well and have such a passion and love for it. And then get to the point where you take a piece of paper and a pen and you're just like, you know, I sit sometimes and there's no even thought process. And now I'm just like, my husband's like, oh my God. He's like, what are you writing now? You're always writing. But he's happy for me because he knows I'm a writer. We've been married for almost 23 years now. And so he's happy to see me doing what I love again and being able to do it well and with passion and just be happy about it. Like I said, I'm crafting. I'm doing like my spell work and decorating, and I feel super, super creative. Like I'm going outdoors and finding like wood and sticks to make things out of. And it's just, once again, it's like, I wish that you could just like feel what I feel. I wish I could just like let you guys feel it, but I can't. And like I said, everybody's journey is different. But it's funny because I always explain when something's really good, I'm like, it's bliss. Like bliss, right? That's my word, bliss. It's blissful. And this lady, the lady Christina Lopes, in the video, I was laughing when I was watching this video about the dark side because that part's coming up soon, right? But she was talking about like the bliss state of spiritual awakening, which is like just happiness. You know what I mean? So wherever you are in your life and whatever it is that you're doing in your life, this moment, this time where you're just like happy all of the time. Like I felt like I was walking on air for the past few months. Like I just wake up, I'm happy. It doesn't matter. I could just be staying home and going nowhere. I could be going to work and I'm just like, so what, you work, na, 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 na. You know, like good vibes. And a huge change for me is not giving a shit what people think. We talked about this. And the funny thing is, I don't care. I don't care. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'm a witch. So what? Because I never told people that I was a witch. And then when I came out and said that, I got a little like, I don't know how you want to call it, some unfollowing and stuff like that, which that's how I feel about that. I'm being myself. I'm being my true, authentic self. And that's probably why I'm so blissful. I'm so happy. So my husband has said to me, he goes, wow. He goes, I can see the change in you. It's crazy. He goes, it is. It's really crazy. He's like, maybe one day I can get onto this level to take this journey with you, because it's weird for him and it's weird for us together as a couple because we do everything together. So as far as this goes, he gets a little lost in my words, and he's like, yes, it does sound crazy. I mean, obviously he understands me because I'm his wife, but he doesn't understand. I have to explain. And he's interested now. He gets interested because he sees it. Like, he's seen the change in me. So now it's like the more he sees it, the more like question, like what is that? And what does that mean? Like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? So it's cool though, because he's like questioning me, because like I told you guys in the first video, it's kind of hard when you're going through this alone and you don't have anyone to talk to about it. So even doing this journaling, like vlogging with you guys actually helps me, because I journal everything, you know, like all these moments and seeing these numbers and these signs and synchronicities and everything about my spiritual awakening, and I journal it, and then I come back and I document it through blogging with you guys, you know, and it helps me release. And it's great because I can look back. Like, I was watching my video this morning, my first spiritual awakening video. I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? That's so cool. So, yeah, guys, I have been so happy. So I'm trying to just give you guys some things like, okay, women, let's start there, okay? So we all know that women can be like super catty, they can be mean, not all women, but a lot of them, I'm sorry, yeah. And unfortunately, women can be very catty and competitive and things like that, and I'm not that girl. So I've always had a tough time with women when it comes to that. So, but I've noticed, I used to get so agitated. I used to tell my husband, like, you know, women that give you looks for no reason, they would put me in a bad mood. Like, I'd smile, I'm like, because me, like, if you know me, I'm all like, hi, and I'm like, yeah, dancing on it. I'm like full of life all the time. So if I'm like smiling at a girl, like she's pretty or like her outfit, I'm like, and then you get like, okay, like it bothered me. It used to piss me off, you know what I mean? Just like people in general, just pissing me off. Like we used to go into Walmart and I would be like, bang, you know, like, oh, we hate this store. But it's like you save so much money when you go to Walmart versus like Target. If you're doing like a marketing list, you're gonna pay like $1 to $2 more per item. So it's like I go to Walmart. So I noticed the last time we went into Walmart, I think it was like last week, or I don't know, the holidays have like, I don't even know what day it is anymore. But we went into Walmart and my husband was like, oh, I hate this store, and said something or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I was like, you know what I noticed? I am not even fazed by this store anymore. And the thing is, it's like, it's almost like I have like tunnel vision to negativity. Once again, guys, I wish I could explain it to you, but I can't. It's just, this is how I'm explaining it to you. It's like my guides, my angels that watch over me are like, okay, we're going into Walmart now. Protect her. I don't know. I am completely and utterly unbothered by unpleasant people, rude comments, rude women, rude dudes, negative people in general. I have found myself saying, like, my husband will tell me something and I'm like, babe, you know what though? I'm like, you gotta look at it like this. That's a miserable person. That is a miserable person. And you almost feel bad. Like, I feel bad for those people now because you're that miserable. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think if you can take things and try to look at it another way, and I'm not trying to be like, it's a good thing to be like, oh, they're just miserable. But it is in a way, because it's like, look, don't look at it like it's your fault. Don't look at them like treating you like that, or because they slammed a door in your face, or the people that don't say thank you when you let them go and things like that. That's their problem. It's not your problem. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's learning. Spiritual journey helps you learn how to let go and take control more over your reactions and your actions throughout life. And that's a huge help, because if you're not getting annoyed through daily life and people's ways, everybody's not going to be like you. And because you decided to go on a spiritual journey and change your life and better yourself, doesn't mean that the whole world is going to. So for me, a lot being on this journey in the beginning and going out into the world would be like, ugh, you know what I mean? I'm like, what is wrong with these people, you know? So it's almost like I started sheltering myself in my little cave, like, okay, well, when I'm here, I can do what I want, read my books and watch my videos, and I've created this place for myself, this environment, and it's safe here. And basically, I guess that's what it is, because it's like, you know, not everybody is going to change, and not everybody is going to be who you want them to be. So it's like learning to just be zen about it, I guess. And that's, after all, what a spiritual awakening is about, you know? It's part of what it's about in the end, to be in this blissful state that you are going through life unbothered by things. I mean, just to go through life and not be bothered by the things that you are bothered by in your normal day of people's aggravations or rudeness is huge. Do you know what I mean? So I think one of the two biggest things, I think, of my creative writing and all of the things I'm getting done, I mean, there's so much information in my head. I've learned so much information in the past few months. So I think those few things alone are what has made my life just so much better. If you're out and about and you're going to the gas station, you're going to get your coffee, or you're going to work and you're dealing with people who are jerks and not letting it affect you, that's huge. Of course it's going to change your life. And it's going to make things easier with your partner or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or whatever it is, because you're not taking it out on them, because you're not so aggravated like you went out into the world and I just came back and you're like, oh, I just went to go get a coffee and this guy was like this. And do you know what I'm saying? So it's a huge thing. It's a huge step. Okay, guys, getting into this little part now, okay? So this is basically going to be the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video, because we don't want to be sitting here watching my face for 1 hour, do we? No, not at all. So, the Dark Night, okay? Call it whatever you want. Maybe you will see it, and maybe you won't in your journey. I don't know. But I'm like, I said this to my husband the other day, I'm like, well, so, everybody doesn't go through this, like, bad part of their spiritual awakening, but, like, guess who is, babe? This girl, like, lucky me, right? But then I'm like, you know what? Maybe, like, the end part is better for these people who have to go through the crap to get through the good stuff, you know? But, I mean, I guess it makes sense, because you have to have some bad sometimes to get really to the good stuff, you know what I mean? So, okay, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to tell you my version of the Dark Knight, okay? The way that I see it. So the Dark Knight is you, okay? It's a part of you. So we all have a dark side. I welcome you guys to Google this. I really do. Because it's going to be a huge part in finding yourself and remaining on this journey. Because if you do encounter a dark night, I am going to be 100% honest with you. It is awful. It is awful. If anybody else tells you something different, then they're lying, because it's not good. I mean, I don't see how you could go through a good dark night, because they're usually shitty, you know? So that's why I question, like 10 years ago when I started this journey with my father dying and having knee surgery and ending my career basically when I was an MMA fighter. I was the little bully, and that's who I was. That's what I did. You know what I mean? That was my identity. To have all these hormonal things happen to my body. Like I told you, I went through a lot of personal things, really deep, bad personal shit 10 years ago. So I am really wondering if that was, because Christina also goes on in her video to talk about you can have more than one dark night, okay, during a spiritual awakening journey. Because like I said, you can go on. Spiritual awakening journey isn't like, hey, I'm going to start reading books and I'm going to go, because also you can go read all the spiritual books you want and do all these things. Doesn't mean you're going through a spiritual awakening, okay? A spiritual awakening, you will know. You will absolutely know. And I think part 3, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other feelings and stuff that you get when you're going through. I think I covered a lot of them, but I mean, as I go through the new steps and phases of it, I will share those experiences with you guys, so that if you have these things happening to you, you may stop and say like, oh, whoa, that happens to me, and I had this bad thing happen to me in my life. Or like I said, you might not have anything bad going on in your life. You might just be going through a spiritual awakening and you bypass that, and lucky you, because I wish I did. So maybe I should rewind a little and go back to 2 weeks ago. Okay? So, don't know what happened. Don't know. Walking on air, everything was great. Every day of my life was great. I swear to you. And I constantly just had like people telling me like, you look so much happier. You look so happy. Like literally people told me, you're glowing. You're so happy. You seem so happy. And I'm like, okay, so it felt good because like other people are noticing it. But to have my husband, who sees me every day and has been with me for 23 years, to say, wow, like, I'm so proud of you. Like, it's so cool. Like, you have changed so much. Like, all of the things that were weighing me down, like caring about what people think, and like having girlfriends or not, you know what I mean? Not having people to hang out with, or worrying about, like, I went here to go get my hair done, and this girl was like, meh, 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 and like, just like the stupid little things that can like really your life, you know what I mean? That I just didn't care anymore. And it's like all those little things, they add up. And they mean something, stress you out, and they can ruin your day, and they just weren't happening for me anymore. I just wasn't being unaffected by things, you know? And I found myself reaching out to people more. Like, I would see someone hurting or upset, and I just found myself, like, casually kind of reaching out to the person, like, are you okay? And stuff like that. So, everything was going great, and then it just happened. I just got depressed. So, I had told you in the last video that one day my son had come over with his girlfriend. When he left, I was like, oh, crying. My husband went to bed, and I just started crying. And that's when I first found this lady's video and like, what is going on with me, you know? And that's what it is. It's just, I go through this dark night and it comes and goes. But what she said is that the dark night, as you keep getting them, like if you go through a really bad dark night and then when it's finished and if you have another one, it's usually not as bad. So here's the thing. What I'm saying is you learn, you're growing because you're on a spiritual awakening journey. So the more you're on it and the more information that you intake and you learn about it, the more you learn about yourself. You understand? So basically, with that said, saying like, okay, the best way to explain it is spiritual awakening. Okay, you're growing. It's called growing. You're growing through a spiritual awakening. You're growing, and you're shedding off the old you, okay? Everything that is old, you're getting rid of, and everything that's new is coming into your life at the same time, okay? So when you think about that, that's a lot, you know? So the reason why I guess she said it gets easier is because you just find new ways to deal with it because you have grown, you know? You're learning because of your growth through this process. So, in other words, now, because you're always growing, you're always like shedding off that skin. So, I thought that was an excellent way of describing it. A snake sheds its skin, correct? And it grows a new one. So, I think if you're a human and you're like really like shedding your skin like a snake, it might hurt a little bit, right? Like the old you is like going away. Like you're losing who you used to be. So that's difficult because, like I said, when I was a mixed martial arts fighter and then I had to have a second surgery on my knee, and can't fight anymore, and that's who I knew, that's who I was. Like if you have a doctor saying to you, look, you can still fight, you can do it, but you know, you're running the risk of just like shredding that knee into pieces that, you know, you want to go play with your kids outside. You like fitness, you know, I'm an outdoors woman, I'm a super active person. So she's like, well, you could do that and destroy your knee and then, you know, have your fight, and then for the rest of your life you're going to be plagued by this terrible knee. So I lost my identity. Okay? So spiritual awakening, you're losing your identity and you're becoming a new person. Everything about your life is going to change. Every single thing about your life. If you are on a spiritual awakening path, I will tell you, you will know, because you will want change. Everything in your life is going to change, okay? Because you are becoming a completely new person completely, okay? You might even get to the point where you don't recognize yourself sometimes. Recognize your speech. Recognize your face in the mirror. Just recognize yourself, like, who am I? You know what I mean? And that can be discomforting. So with all of this said, maybe this is why, I don't know. I just woke up one morning and I felt like crap. I felt horrible. I was sad. I was super depressed. And I would cry or I would just be angry. I was taking it out on my husband. I was taking it out on anybody I could. I was just like, my husband's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, I hate this and I hate that. I even spoke about wanting to end my life. Like, I kid you not. Like, I don't even want to be here anymore. Like, superficially speaking, but not. It was bad. So, like, I'm talking, this was a week and a half ago. Okay? Maybe not even. I think the day, what is today? Today is Sunday, Saturday, Friday. This Friday was my first decent day. Okay? And all the negative energy that, let me tell you, it was a kind of a decent day, and then it ended like, because it was like, okay, one more nail in the coffin. Okay, one more. Okay, now you're done. Okay, so pick your shit up tomorrow morning on Saturday and like say a positive affirmation as soon as you wake up in the morning, and maybe you'll have a good day. No, it was that bad, guys. It was like right after the holidays, well, New Year's Eve, I didn't even go out. It was my idea not to go out. It was my idea to just stay home and shelter myself. So basically I sheltered myself. I didn't leave my house, okay, for almost 2 weeks. Okay, I left when I had to. If you have to go to work, if you have to go to the store because you got to get something, whatever. And then I was in my house, okay? Basically living in my pajamas for 2 weeks, being so depressed about everything and anything. Like I wasn't watching TV. I'd put the TV on and I would just zone out to like being depressed and how horrible my life was. Everything about my life was shit. That's what I was saying. And I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, just like a week ago, I was so happy. Everything was so great. Like, what happened? Okay? But the thing is, that's what it is. It's called a spiritual awakening, and that is the dark night, and it sucks, and there is no other way of saying it. The dark night sucks, okay? So I'm praying that was like a small dark night. And my theory is 10 years ago, when all of that stuff happened, was my initial dark night. It was like initiation into spiritual awakening or something like that, and that this journey never really ended. But then it makes sense because I've had a spiritual room in every house that I've lived in since the first time it started. I never stopped that. I never stopped with the books or the crystals or anything like that. It was just that I wasn't looking at positivity and spirituality the same. Like I was basically like, oh, spirituality is so great, but then why is my life shit? Why can't I do this? Why can't I publish my book? If spirituality is so great, I'm doing all the work, I'm doing this stuff, and it's not happening for me. Do you understand? So I think that back then my brain was just like, I don't get it. I'm doing this. So what am I getting out of it? Do you know what I mean? I just mentally was not mature at all because it's not how a spiritual awakening works whatsoever. And like I said, this time around, I can tell because it's like everything is so like, You know, like I told you guys last time, and this was the beginning of my well, like I said, I don't think I ever got off, because in the beginning, which was like October, I'd say November, was when I had the hand placed on my head when I was sleeping, and during a spiritual awakening, things like that. Those are the things that will happen, where your spirit God will literally, you will feel hand on your head, and it's a little freaky, but it's cool at the same time. But it's scary, okay? But it's cool. It's cool and scary. Cool and scary. Like I said, I get still even more so. Sometimes the buzzing in my ears hurts. It actually gets almost painful. My intuition, since I've talked to you guys, is tenfold. It's actually crazy. I told my husband the other day, oh my God, like I am like starting to be able to read people's minds sometimes. Okay, spiritual. I have psychic ability in me. I've been very intuitive my entire life. I am a psychic empath. So it's already there. So with the spiritual awakening journey now, literally sometimes when people are around me that are close to me, I mean, I've always been able to do it whether I know you or I don't. But it's lately now, it's like, I'm like, holy crap, I just like read that person, babe. And he's like, well, I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, they were thinking this or that. Or I've even called that. My son would be like doing something. And I said to my son, Seth, the other day, I was like, it was a personal thing, so I'm not going to get into it. But I said, you do know I know what you were saying, right? And he like laughed or whatever, and he's like, I'm like, you should know that I already know by now, right? But this is what I'm saying, okay? So it's like heightened my intuition like tenfold, which is so awesome. But like I said, I'm also doing a lot of work. And what I said about the deep work during spirituality is like, you need to find yourself. The deep work is who you are. Like, what do you want to do with your life now? What is it that you really want in your life? But you got to work for it. You can't just read books and be like, give me spiritual awakening, give me the bliss because I want it. It's called work. And this is where you, like I said, the dark night can come along because of the work that you're doing. Because when you do deep work, it's what I'm talking about is the letting go part and going through your past and maybe bad stuff you did in your past. Doesn't have to be bad things that you actually did. Maybe just changing characteristics of yourself. Like, I used to be a very vengeful person. Like, if you hurt me, I was out for blood. You know what I mean? Things like that. So you have to go through the process. You have to go back into your life. For me, I've been going back into my childhood, which is extremely painful for me. It's so painful for me. It's the worst thing. Like, that letting go, the part with I was adopted, my adoptive parents, and that family. My husband's like, you have to let it go. You have to let your mother go. You have to let it go. And it's like, and I tell him, I'm like, I know it's easy for other people to say that you just let it go, just let it go. But I was raised in this family and molded to be into this person and how I feel, you know? So now what it is I have to say, no, you don't have to feel that way because she did this to you, or she made you feel this way, you know what I mean? Or this family was this way. No, you feel about yourself the way you want to feel about yourself. Like, you know who you are now. So feel the way about yourself that you want to feel about yourself. Don't let yourself feel a way that someone has made you feel. You know, that's what I talk to you about deep work and why I say like journaling. You know, if you're interested in this, grab a journal, go to the bookstore, pick up some books. And on spirituality, if you have questions, leave them in the comments, guys. And oh, while I'm there, can you guys please do me a favor and click the like button, because I get views on the video and no likes. Guys, really, it helps me. If you will like this video, it helps me on YouTube, because I only started this video 1 month ago and it's impossible to grow if you guys don't hit the like button. If you do like what you see, I really, really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, okay? I had to put that in there, guys, because I always forget to say it. So anyways, guys, it's the work. So journal about your past, journal about what it is you don't like, then journal about how you want to change that, okay? These are my ideas for you. This is the way that I am now. How would I like to change that? Okay? These are the things from my past or right now or a relationship that I have not been able to let go of. Whatever happened to you in your life that you're holding on to, okay? Write that down. Write down how you'd like to see it change. Or write it down in the present state. My past, my mother, no longer affects my present life. Things like that. I'm huge every single day. Affirmations, positive affirmations. And I will tell you this. The universe only understands one language. It doesn't understand, I want to make more money in my job. I want to be happier. I want to change my ways. No, what it understands is I am this person now. I have changed my ways. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I want to be beautiful. I am beautiful. I love myself. I love my skin. I love my hair. Do you understand? So the universe doesn't understand maybes or whens. They understand exact information. So when you make an information, you say it in the present moment as if you already have it, okay? That's wicked important when you're doing affirmations and journaling, okay? So that's part of the hard work. Now, the part about it, like I said, that can affect you is that digging. Now, you're holding on to something. Why? Because it's painful, right? Like I have things that are so painful that I sit here and I say, how? I tell my husband, how do I get past that? Like there's certain things like, how do I get past that? How do I like, you know, you ever watch a movie and you've had something happen to you and it happens in the movie or like how do I do that? How does that thing that happened to me, maybe I see it happen and don't have a reaction to it? You know what I mean? So I don't know about that. You know, I'm taking it one step at a time, but you have to do the deep work, and the deep work is the hardest part of this transformation. But I truly 100% believe that it's for the best, because if you have like this bliss, the bliss that you feel during a spiritual awakening is what you get when the spiritual awakening is over. So that's what I want for my life. So it's worth it. And it's like I've been through it now. Like, it's so important to have support, and I really, really hope that if you are going through a spiritual awakening journey, that you have someone there for you to support you, because it's going to be so important. And like I said, even if you don't experience the dark night, you don't experience any downs of it, if you just get the good parts of spiritual awakening, then that's awesome. But maybe you still have questions. So that's what I'm here for, guys. I'm right here. So I've been on this journey. I've been doing it. Like I said, it started actually for me 10 years ago. There's not much about spirituality or things that you can do to help you through this process that I don't already know about. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comment box. The best advice that I can give you right now, if you are going through one and you're feeling like super depressed, is force yourself out of it. You've got to sit there and you've got to tell yourself, this is happening because this is what's supposed to happen. I have to get myself out of this. Like, I have to force myself to go do something. That's what we did. My husband said, you know what? He goes, you want to go see The Grudge? And I said, yes, I do. Let's get out of the house. He goes, all right, Friday night, we'll go see The Grudge. As you see, I told you my first good day was Friday because I got out of the house. Because every other day was just like, I'd be like, yeah, I got to get out of the house tomorrow. I got to stop this, you know? And then the next day would come and I'd be like, I'm content with staying here in my pajamas. Do you know what I'm saying? So make plans, take a class, make plans with friends that you know you're not going to break them, so you get out, because you have to stay active and doing things and try to pull yourself. When you feel yourself getting sucked into this dark moment, you've got to try to pull yourself out of it, okay? So that's it for now, guys. I will update you guys in another 2 weeks, and maybe I'll give you guys some more ideas of things you can do, classes you can take, and you know what? I will put together a list of books for you guys to read. Some you may have seen, some you may have not, some you may not like, but I am just going to share some. I'll do my update, and I will answer any questions that I get from this point on. So like I said, give me 2 weeks. We'll do another update. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you don't know where the comments is, because a lot of people, they're like, where there's a comment, you can leave a comment. So if you, when you watch my video, if you start scrolling, just scroll past my video and past, like, I think there's like 5 or 6 other videos underneath mine, then you'll see the comment section, okay? And then you can leave the comment there, and that'll help me so I know what you guys want to see as far as spiritual awakening videos and anything I can answer for you guys. But next update will be some books that you guys can read, so I will leave them all in the description box. Not today, next week, 2 weeks from now. I will leave some books that I've read that have helped me personally. Maybe they will help you. Otherwise, I hope you take my journaling advice and start doing that. It's super helpful. Start writing yourself some positive affirmations of the way you want your life to be, okay? So that's it for guys. That's it for guys. That's it for guys. That's it for now, guys. And I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Actually, I'll see you before then, because I'm going to be posting a spell tonight. So I hope you guys check that out. Namaste.